Joining us this morning is Lanao del Sur 1st District Representative Alonto Adyong. Good morning, Kong. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Rhea Castro. Happy New Year to you both.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, Kong.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Kong. But of course, first and foremost, meron po ba talagang naririnig among the House na maaring mag-file ng impeachment complaint laban kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos?
Actually, it came about from the interview of my good friend, Congressman Irice.
Yes.
Sabi nun, wala po kaming naririnig. Actually, we just learned about that when one of my colleagues came out in an interview saying that there were some groups who were pushing and then approaching him that could, for these complaints to be endorsed by him. So, in fairness naman kay Congressman Irice, sabi naman niya, he will not endorse such complaint. But apart from that kasi, the issue really is, anybody can really file an impeachment complaint, di ba? Demokrasya tayo eh. But the issue really is, how can you substantiate your claim to attribute, culpable violation of the Constitution, betrayal of public trust, on certain policies or directive of the current president. So yun ang mahirap eh, because that's the only way you can actually convince the House of Representatives to push forward these claims of yours. So filing is one thing, and then producing evidences to support your allegation is another.
Right.
Pero Kong, have you heard of or are you aware of ano yung mga specific charges na ipinupukol kay Pangulong Marcos?
Kaya nga sabi namin, rumor lang ito kasi wala kami naririnig. Wala pa kami nakikita. Sabi namin, it's just probably political noise. If they're ready with their complaints, then they should be ready also to file it. So sa ngayon, sabi ko nga, this all came about from the interview of my good friend, which again, I would like to I'd also like to stress out that he explained that he will not be endorsing any such complaint.
And I think isa sa mga tinitingnan daw po nila na basihan dun sa complaint would be yung pagpapasa ng budget ng 2022, 2023, and of course, this notorious budget na 2025 that dubbed as the most corrupt budget in the Philippine history na, command responsibility because he's the one who signed the budget. So, siya daw yung may responsibilidad doon. Kung may mga issue ng korupsyon, napabayaan niya or he's part of it somehow. Yun daw yung mga sinasabi. Kong.
Well, legally, if it's about policy, then I think that's not an issue for an impeachment complaint.
Right.
No, if it's, for example, directive from the president saying that ito sa akin ito yung hatian natin, that is a betrayal of public trust. And there's also a ruling from on the 2025 petition, no, specifically on the transfer of the 60 excess funds from the PhilHealth to the National Treasury. Ang sinabi naman ng Supreme Court doon, there is no culpability on the part of the part of the DOF, no. So, meaning to say, the Supreme Court has already laid out the guidelines that it cannot be again replicated in the same manner that such an excess funds from any GOCCs might be transferred to the National Treasury. But then again, apart from also that, in part of that ruling is also not to find any culpability. So if we talk about the budgeting process, if they're trying to lay down the complaints and attributing it to the previous GAAs that we have approved, then I think it's the burden of proof would lie on the complainant themselves. So they have to specify where in the specific GAAs and where exactly in the line items can the president be charged with an offense as big as constituting a civil offense.
Alright. Of course, ang tinatanong din natin dito kung paano yung magiging proseso, no? While we are also waiting for the, of course, sagot ng Supreme Court doon sa impeachment complaint nga kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Hypothetically, nagkaroon nga po ng impeachment complaint laban kay President Bongbong Marcos, and then of course, biglang mag-expire na rin yung period ng 1-year ban nung kay VP Sara. Paano, ano yung magiging dynamics ito sa Congress? Meron bang president before na dalawang impeachment ang dinidinig sa Congress? Tama po ba yun?
Wala. So far, hindi ko naman, magkaedad naman ata kami ni Angelo. So wala ho kami naririnig
Wala, not in my knowledge, Kong.
Not that I know of. And that's the thing that we want to avoid, di ba? Kasi definitely it would hurt not only these two, for example, officers, no, but it would definitely hurt our country
Oh.
economically and in many other aspects in our governance. So kaya nga sinasabi namin, lalo na you mentioned about the MR, as we're still waiting for the Supreme Court to respond with finality how they would answer the MR, kasi pending pa yung MR in before the Supreme Court,
Right.
the one filed. So again, all of this could be hypothetical, no, sinasabi mo, but that's the thing that we need to avoid, no, if we are to entangle ourselves with too many different impeachment complaints that actually targeted the two highest officials in our land. So, kaya sinasabi po namin, if there are complaints, then it should be verified and substantiated with proof. Kasi mahirap naman po talaga na mag-allege without even presenting an iota of evidences.
Right.
Yeah, we spoke, Kong, to Congressman Terry Ridon also, I think that was last week, talking about yung impeachment ni Vice President, no? Kasi alam naman natin we're waiting for the MR yet and medyo matagal, pero ang iniiwasan daw kasi na if walang MR by the 6th, baka daw may mga groups who just want to file a complaint just to trigger the ban again. Ano po ang ginagawa ngayon ng mga certain groups with regards to a second possible complaint kay VP Sara? Meron bang naririnig kayo, Kong?
So far, wala pa. No? Apart from the interview, I guess, from one of the minority members say magpa-file nga sila. In fact, si Congressman, my good friend Terry Dodon, is member of the minority and he also made mention about that. So hindi ko lang alam kasi hindi na pag-uusapan dyan. I think tama po yung sinabi nyo kanina kasi yung mga pag-file ng impeachment complaint, that could also be used as a strategy.
Yes.
No? Magpa-file ng impeachment complaint na hindi naman substantiated by evidences para lang ma-prohibit yung legitimate na verified complaint na ifa-file ng sino man o anumang grupo na yan. So that could also be used as a tactic, no, in order to prevent the more legitimate and valid impeachment complaint. So far, to go back to your question, wala pa naman na pag-uusapan. These are all rumors that came out from the outside. So we're just surprised why such talks have already dominated our public discourse, no. But then again, as to the Vice President, I guess the minority, the Makabayan Bloc, already came out with their position that once the 1 year ban is over, then they might probably be filing another impeachment complaint. But let's cross the bridge when we get there. Of course, definitely we would have to look at the evidences as the substantive merits of the filing of the complaints that they will be filing.
So, Kong, it's sufficient to say na as of now, ang stance po ninyo lahat is hintay muna natin kung ano yung sasabihin ng Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as the MR is concerned,
Yes.
we are still waiting kasi we still have few more weeks, no?
Yes, that's right.
Before the MR actually lapses. So, antayin po natin yon kung anong mangyayari. But I hope that all of this discussion about, because tama naman, we do agree that there has to be transparency and accountability. So, to hold all officials to account. But sabi ko nga, the impeachment process should be the last recourse. No?
That's right.
This is a sacred duty given to us by the Constitution. So it should not be bastardized or trivialized by mere filing of a complaint just because some political partisan groups would like to use this as a strategy to prevent legitimate and valid impeachment to hold public officers to account.
Well, going back po dun sa pagfa-file ng impeachment complaints against VP Sara, do you think, kung before na consolidate ng lower house yung mga complaints, di ba kasi ang dami po nun tapos parang inantay pa po nung Secretary General, ay hindi po tayo abot sa ganito na inaantay natin yung desisyon ng Supreme Court? Do you think that's even possible?
I'll just give you the timeline. Let's go back to the timeline. The first complaint that was filed by by individual group, was filed during the break. And secondly, the second complaint was also filed during the break. And the third filing of the complaint was done after when we resumed. Meron kasing under the rules 10 session days for the fight for these complaints to be referred to the Committee on Justice. And that's exactly how, when, and where the question of the initiation, the word initiation,
Yes.
begin and starts to be questioned by virtue of a petition. So actually, ang position kasi ng former Secretary General namin at the time, kasi marami na talagang ready na document na for complaint. They're just waiting for any members who would like to support that, to endorse that. So ang ginawa kasi ng Secretary General namin is that kung halimbawa, yung first complaint ang itatakal doon sa Committee on Justice with depending two other complaints by different groups, would that also prevent these two ethics complaints be tackled in the Committee on Justice? It would also cause us legal issue. Should, for example, the first complaint was already referred to, despite the fact that we were still under recess. So yun ang naging position. That's why nung pag-resume natin, kasi may 3 modes yan, pag-resume natin sa House of Representatives, all the more than one-third members already acted like the petitioners. The complainants. We were all the complainants when we affixed our signature to have the verified impeachment complaints directly approved by the House of Representatives, because these are 3 modes.
That's right.
That's why one of the issues in the MR is that sinabi kasi ng Supreme Court dapat bigyan ng due process.
Yes.
Hindi nagpitin yan. So you have to notify first itong officer na to na impeach mo. Would that also mean that we will abandon the constitutional requirement, or the one of the modes as specified by the Constitution, which is the 1/3 vote can go directly to the plenary?
Yes, that's right.
Do we now abandon that? Yun ang question namin since we are supplying or providing additional requirement for the House to go about with the process of impeachment, would that also mean na hindi na natin magagamit yung third mode,
Yung third
which is
Yeah.
one vote? Because doon sa third mode na yun, diretso ka na pupunta sa plenary, no? Provided that you have secured more than 1/3 of the membership na sila mismo ang acting like complainants. Yung idalawa kasi, direct member ang magko-complain, yung pangalawa, individual private citizen na endorso
Yes.
nung membro ng House of Representatives.
So-
Which in this case, I guess, yung kay Congressman Irice, gusto nilang, yung second mode, gusto nilang endorse si Congressman Irice. To be fair, ayaw naman din
Ayaw
endorse.
naman niya, oo. Oo.
So does that mean kasi kung I'm trying to understand also yung mga iba, no, kung hindi na consolidate yung impeachment complaint from the Secretary General pa lang, and let's say yung pangatlong complaint ang idala sa plenary, pwede po ba yun na i-bypass yung unang dalawa, yung pangatlo ang ipuput to a vote? Or what happens if the first, second, and third are put to plenary tapos na-reject yung unang dalawa? Does it mean triggered na yung 1-year ban?
Yeah, actually, Angelo, yung in the case we're talking about the 19th Congress,
Yeah.
yung 3 complaints were not actually abandoned.
Okay.
It was just the members of the House have already acted as complainants. So, hindi na siya napag-usapan because it's moot and academic. Yung more than 200 plus na membro ng House of Representatives ang nag-push at nagpupirma na sila yung complainant for the verified impeachment complaint. So there was no abandonment, there was no rejection.
Okay.
It's just that we made use of the third mode.
The third
under-
mode, which is, yun nga yung
1/3 vote.
one-third
Yeah.
vote. Oo.
Oo.
Pero kung what will be the or how will the statement of Madriaga, the so-called bagman of VP Sara Daud, will play in this complaint? So parang nakikita daw kasi na isasama to sa panibagong evidence. Sama po ba yun? If ever there will be impeachment complaint.
Well, Angela, I cannot give you a direct answer because sa totoo lang, hindi ako privy doon sa mga testimony ni Madriaga. Nalaman ko lang kasi parang may nag-file ata sa ombudsman, I don't know, for the purpose of impeachment. But I wasn't really aware. I haven't, I wasn't kept track on the testimony and the movement of Madriaga's case. But hindi ko alam kung isasama nila because I guess it's from the minority bloc who also mentioned that and intimated that probably they would include the Madriaga case in the complaint. So hindi pa napag-usapan. Let's wait for them to lose their complaint once the 1-year ban is lapses.
Okay.
I don't know exactly.
Tignan natin ang susunod na kabanata, ika nga. Pero, Kong, of course, you're here na rin. Is it okay if we ask you about yung usapin po ng budget, no? Tungkol nga po dun sa sinasabi na kumakalat na balita na ginagamit itong budget para daw po ma-push itong impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte. Kayo po, in your own knowledge, may ganun ba?
Yung sinabi ni Senator Amy. Yeah, oo.
Masyadong fictional po yung ganung klaseng interpretasyon, sabi ko nga po, because the public has seen and watched the live stream, di ba? So to magkaiba po yan, hindi magkadugtong ang budget at saka impeachment process, di ba? So I think it's quite unfair for the working men and women who have sat in the BICAM, and those lalong-lalo na yung nag-prepare nitong budget na ito, to just accuse the entire process of maybe having a partisan influence to para naman sa impeachment ni VP Sara. It's not only unfair, but it's also an insult to the intelligence of those members of the BICAM.
Who crafted the budget.
Yes. Wala naman kasi member naman siya ng BICAM. And ang Senado naman, member din ng BICAM. Hindi lang House of Representatives yan. So kaya nga sinasabi it's far-fetched and these are just political noise. So nakaka-insult, hindi lang unfair, pero nakaka-insulto sa sa trabaho, intelligence ng mga nakaupo. Hindi lang ng House of Representatives sa BICAM, but yung mismong mga colleagues niya dyan sa Senado.
Well, kasi sinasabi niya po yung budget natin ay hiding from different pork, especially giniling.
Soft pork.
Soft pork yung sinasabi niya. So your comment on that po?
I don't know kung paano yung sinabi yung giling-giling at saka yung paano niya yung ginawa.
Kong namang giling-giling. Iba yung giling-giling, Kong.
Iba ba yung giling-giling? Sorry.
Giniling po tayo, giniling.
Giniling na baboy daw, Kong.
Kasi ako Tagalog eh. But anyway, this ako kasi, I always assume yung sinabi nilang presumption of regularity. So I always have the confidence on the ability and the wise decision of the members of the BICAM. Yung pinag-usapan naman talaga nila doon ay line items. Nakita naman ng taong bayan kung paano napag-usapan starting from the committee deliberation up to the plenary. Up to the BICAM. So ako, the presumption of regularity, I still maintain my optimism that what they have discussed during the bicameral conference were actually the result of all of the clamor from the public na maging transparent, maging responsive, na hindi lang permissive but maging responsive at the same time yung gagawing budget for 2026. So let's allow her na lang to substantiate her claim kung paano giniling or giniling-giling yung budget niya.
Pero ano ko lang to, kung alam niyo na po itong bagong statement ni Secretary Vince Dizon ng DPWH saying na no more allocables ngayon, no? So parang they're presenting a new budget planning reforms, no, na wala nang allocables kundi ang magiging sistema based on the needs ng lugar, no, ng distrito. Tapos lahat daw dapat merong plano na lahat may project na dapat endorse ng Development Council at saka uunahin daw ng bibigyan ng pondo yung para sa may mga completions na ongoing projects. Have you seen that already?
Nakita ko yung press briefing ni Secretary Pero kung ito naman I think under the status quo, this has been the policy. Kasi lahat naman ng mga proyekto sa bawat distrito, kaya nga may National Expenditure Program tayo, na-submit sa House. Kasi ang mga nagre-reflect doon ng mga line items these are all verified, these are all assessed by the regional offices of each departments, no, sa kanilang mga line agencies, sa kanilang mga outposts sa mga regional sa mga region, no. So na-verify naman ito as far as the infrastructure is concerned. That's why pag may NEP talaga makikita mo doon ano yung mga multi-year na ini-implement, ano yung mga ongoing, ano yung mga natapos na, ano yung kailangan ng maintenance, anong kailangan ng rehabilitation, because these are all part of how they would prepare their budget. So if there are additional guidelines in order to make sure na maganda yung implementation apart from implementation but reflective doon sa pangangailangan ng community, mas advantage yun, lalo na sa amin,
Yeah.
sa far-flung areas. Because that would also give us, for the national government to really look into the real situation and the need of our districts, of our areas. Hindi lang siya maging centered doon sa highly urbanized area. What we need here in the rural areas are more development, infrastructure development. So that would be advantageous on the part of those who are really in need of programs and projects from the central government, from the national government.
Well, Kong,
Wala na kami makikitang allocable sa mga proponents.
So speaking of projects, Kong, kasi yung isang issue, sabi nila, okay, importante po yung binabantayan yung proseso ng pagbabudget, pero importante din po daw sa ground level yung sa oversight sa implementation. No? And yung isang option daw dyan is yung ICI, parang yung lalagyan ng ngipin o yung gagawin sa batas, or sa ang suggestion ni Congressman Ridon when we talk to him, stronger oversight from Congress na lang daw muna kaysa enacting something into law na ang dami-dami na daw batas. Ano po yung take nyo dito?
Iiwasan talaga natin na yung overlaying of bureaucratic processes kasi yun ang nandi-delay hindi lang doon sa assessment but even yung actual result ng investigation. Pag sobrang dami kasi nag-iimbestiga, talaga magkaka-confuse yung taong bayan. May special provision kasi sa GAA to monitor the implementation of infra projects. In 2026 GAA, may special provision sila dyan. On top of the already given mandate of all of the committee, in the case of the House of Representatives, may public accounts tayo dyan. So we would meron talagang oversight function ng Kongreso. So pwedeng anytime mag-call ng investigation as to the issuances of releases, basta anything about public utilization, talagang papasok dyan ng public account. So I think that's what Congressman Ridon is saying.
Yeah.
Pero alam ko meron ding special provision dyan sa GAA na magkakaroon ng oversight committee, monitoring committee to assess, monitor yung mga implementation ng proyekto in 2026. So ang akin lang, ang position ko lang talaga doon ay kung meron ng inherent power ang House of Representatives and sa Senate, sa Kongreso to conduct investigation at nakita naman natin may mga investigasyon na nangyayari. So maganda na ituloy-tuloy na rin 'yon, no? Pero yung sinasabi nilang to institutionalize as a state policy, as a matter of state policy itong ICC, I think mayroon tayong legal under the status quo po pwede namang magkaroon. It's not the matter of filing, it's the certainty that there will be people who will be charged.
Yeah.
Ang talagang issue dito. We have all the laws, we have all the legal avenues to run after public officers who are implicated with corruption, etc. But filing is one thing. The certainty that there will be people who will actually be put behind bars is the real question by the people. So yun ang tingnan natin, no? Yun ang dapat nating i-focus.
Well, as the Congress will resume po, no, kailan po ba ang pagbabalik ng session po ninyo? Ano po yung mga priority na i-discuss po ninyo for legislation?
Magre-resume po ang Kongreso sa June 26.
Yun.
So ako po ay chairman ng electoral reform. So isa po sa pag-uusapan natin dyan sa committee ay yung naitala na prioridad ng under sa LEDAC, itong Reform Party List Act, pati yung anti-political dynasty. Alam kong excited kayo dyan sa mga topics.
Yes.
So, those are the two things among other priority legislations that will be tackled by the House once we resume the session.
Isundot ko lang ko nga, yung FOI, ano na balita sa FOI? Parang isang dekada na ata yun ko nga.
Nasa committee na yan, nandun na rin po, meron na rin pong siyang batas, panukalang batas, na napag-uusapan na po yan sa Committee on Public Information. So ang committee po ng electoral reform, yan po yung na-mention ko na dalawa, na prioridad ng SALEDAC na pag-usapan po natin. And ang sa House of ang House leadership naman ay nag-file naman sila ng kanilang version. So we can safely assume that that will also be priority of the House leadership.
Okay.
Well, yun na lang antayin natin yung talagang definition ng
Dynasty.
Yun talaga inaantay natin. Pero kung before we let you go, mabalik lang po ako sa impeachment. Ano po ba talaga yung sentiment ng Kongreso, as you would know, na doon sa tungkol sa mga impeachment complaints na naririnig natin against the President and against the Vice President?
Sa ngayon, wala pa, I don't have the direct answer kasi hindi pa talaga napag-usapan yan. Pag nag-resume po tayo, doon natin malalaman, Angela. So, sa ngayon, wala pa. These are all issues, these are all concerns na lumalabas na pagpalagay ko naman, pag nag-resume ang House of Representatives, ay pag-uusapan naman din yan.
Oh, kasi alam naman natin, numbers game yan ang impeachment
Oh yeah, of course.
complaint,
Yung
diba?
impeachment kasi sui generis yan, one of its
Yes.
kind. It's a combination of legal and political exercise. So, tingnan natin.
Well,
All right, thank you
Thank
for your
you po.
time. Lanao del Sur 1st District Representative Zia Alonto Adyong for joining us.
good morning.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year,
New
Kong.
Year.